now let's relate this to teams in the workplace. Sometimes when you give teams directions and you set a goal with your teams, and quite frankly, would you agree, yes or no? You all were confused about what the goal was the first time. Do you agree? And I set it up that way because you couldn't talk, you couldn't ask me any questions. And when people get confused, there's a hit on productivity. When people get confused, they hear different things than what you said. Now, this is what I said. Your task is to make triangles. Oftentimes when I ask people, why'd you just make one triangle? They say, with attitude, too. They'll say, well, you said make a triangle. Is that what the rest of you heard? No. I said make triangles. Well, you had a beautiful one triangle, yes. Yeah. Oh, and the other thing that starts happening in this activity is people start qualifying their results. Well, we had perfect equilateral triangles. I know it was one, but it was perfect. This stuff happens with teams also. So notice that the first time through the activity, you had a huge productivity hit. What caused that? Miscommunication or the lack of communication. A lot of people will say to me also unclear instructions. My instructions were clear, you just couldn't ask me any questions about it, so you couldn't get feedback from me about it. So the second time through the activity, you had a significant productivity increase. What caused that to happen? The communication. Okay, when did you do that communication? As soon as I said you could, thank you, Miss Melody, for what you said. Thank you to Mr. James. As soon as I said strategize. Now, if you do this activity with your teams, I want you to watch them in the strategizing session. How many of you here, how many of your teams use the full 60 seconds to strategize? Hold your hands up. You use the full 60 seconds. The rest of you, what'd you do? What happened? You came up with that idea in 15 seconds, and then you were sitting there waiting, ready to make those triangles. Is that true? Yeah. Do you feel there's a drawback to doing that and not using the full 60 seconds? Thank you very much. What's the drawback? What's the drawback? Well, when it comes to creative thinking, always look for the second right answer. There's always more than one way to get something done. So when you have the time, and what you're going to find with your teams, they're not going to use all the time that they have available to them to do the strategizing, and they should use that time to check out other options. Now, in the strategizing session, tell me, what did you all do? What did you talk about?
What each person would do.
Okay, you defined roles. Did you get clear on what the goal was in that strategizing session? Very good. Thank you for what you said. Say it louder, Miss Melody. You came to agreement, and that means you came up with a strategy. Is that correct? Very good. What else did you all do?
We figured out what was wrong the first time and improved the problem.
Very good. Thank you for that. You looked at the obstacles that you had the first time, and you tried to work through them for the second time. So what happens is with teams will have a productivity hit if they're not clear on the goal. They will have a productivity hit if they're confused about what the mission is and what their roles and responsibilities are in that mission.